welcome to another edition of Wade Watches. Today I'm going to be doing something a bit different. Instead of focusing one episode on one movie like I usually do, I'm just going to talk about two movies just because I guess I saw them within the same window of one another and just because I feel like it. Honestly, I think I'm capable of tackling these two movies. And hey, you know what? They both star John Leguizamo, so there is definitely a connection between them. There's definitely a similarity between them. So I don't feel that bad about it, and I'm going to do it. So starting off, first movie we're going to talk about is The Menu, starring Ray Fiennes, Anya Taylor-Joy, Nicholas Hoult, and John Leguizamo. Um, and directed by Mark Mylod. I hope I'm saying that right. So, this is a movie that honestly, outside of the trailers that I saw for it in theaters, hasn't really been getting a lot of big buzz, a lot of hype. Um, it's kind of flying under the radar so far, to be honest. But and it doesn't deserve to at all because this was a fantastic thriller comedy. From the one trailer that I kept seeing in theaters, I thought this was just going to be a straight up horror movie about this, this chef, this creepy restaurant where these unsuspecting guests come to dine, and then creepy stuff just starts like happening to them. I thought it was going to be like a straight up horror movie, most dangerous game type of situation. And while there's definitely an element of most dangerous game, guests in this remote location who are like kind of, gradually, hunted or pursued. Um, it was actually quite funny in a dark way, definitely more of a dark comedy, and it was unexpectedly this explicit commentary on what it means to work in the food service industry, what it means to be a chef. It kind of just like made me. It stated the obvious. This wasn't like one of these clever conceptual horror films that say A24 usually makes, where it's like really deep, really metaphorical. You have to pause it and look for symbolism in you know metaphors, all that stuff. I wouldn't call it like this really deep, complex horror movie. The main message of it is pretty explicit and it's not very subtle. But I wasn't expecting it to go this dark comedy route and be, just this kind of commentary on, what it means to be a chef, and kind of a commentary on foodies, that whole thing on on social media where people have to take pictures of the dishes they post. I was not expecting that, and I was thoroughly blown away by just how clever and how darkly humorous that the menu was. It was great to see Ray Fiennes as a villain. I know he's done other villain roles. I haven't seen. Admittedly, I haven't really seen a lot of movies where Ray Fiennes is the bad guy. The last two movies I saw him in, other than this, was the King's Man, where he was a good guy. He was very much a hero, and No Time to Die, where once again he was, a good guy working with, he was him in that movie working with James Bond. So it was refreshing to see him as the villainous chef Julian Slowick. Man, I'm not good with names. He was a villainous chef. He was the head chef of this restaurant. Not a mysterious restaurant at all. I'm making it sound like it's something that's discovered. Like it's actually quite a it's actually quite a popular restaurant in the movie, and a very expensive one. It's very exclusive for VIPs, for the super wealthy, that sort of thing. But he was fantastic, as was Anya Taylor-Joy and Nicholas Hoult, showing a bit of range for once. Once again, the trailers make it seem like it's one thing, so I didn't know what to expect going into it, but he was really good in it. I kind of, there's like one scene involving Nicholas Hoult that just made me like crack up laughing, and I was not expecting that from this movie. I Again, trailers make it seem like it's really going to be dark and intense, but it's definitely more of a dark comedy than a straight up horror film. Definitely a dark comedy, and yeah, Nicholas Hoult had me dying. And there's actually John Leguizamo. He was really good in it. I feel like this is John Leguizamo is definitely trying to establish himself as more of a serious actor because he's known for being a comedian, being comedic, but he's definitely taking a more serious tone, and he was good in this as well. Although he wasn't, playing a dramatic character in this, admittedly. His characters, also makes for some comic relief, but it's not like over the top at all. So, yeah, I really thoroughly enjoyed the menu very much. Definitely one of the better horror films I have watched this year, and it's one of my favorites of this year. It's top of the notch. Top notch, top of the line story. I'm always a sucker for dangerous game type stories where all of these unsuspecting characters are in a secluded location and then things just start unraveling and more and more they grow tense and they're unable to leave this remote location. I'm always a sucker for that, and this movie pulls it off flawlessly in a way that, to my knowledge, hasn't really been done before. I mean, a horror movie centered around people dining at this exclusive, very expensive restaurant was not something I was expecting to be as amazing as it was. Go see the menu. More people should be talking about it. I give it a 9 out of 10. There's there it's not perfect. There is like one thing near the end that kind of made me go like, huh? That's it? That's it. Don't want to give anything away, but that keeps it from being a 10 out of 10. But it's a 9 out of 10. The Menu was a very solid movie. All right, now time to segue into our next movie. This is the one that I just saw. I saw The Menu a couple of days ago, but this I just saw, Violent Night, starring David Harbour and guess who again? John Leguizamo. So this is by no means the first Christmas movie to be cynical, to have some edge, to be raunchy. It's been done many, many, many times before. We've all seen them. Stuff like The Night Before, Krampus, two of my personal favorites. Bad Santa, which I haven't seen yet. Um, what else? What else? So many, so many. What else off the top of my head? There's one I'm thinking of off the top of my head. I always have these brain farts, but it's been done before, is what I'm saying. We've seen it. Gremlins. That's what I was thinking of. Though it doesn't really focus on lore of like the lore of Santa Claus or anything. That is definitely a dark Christmas movie. Um, what else? What else? One more I was thinking of. Even something like, I know this movie isn't, the most beloved and it's not a classic, but I don't give a crap. I still enjoy Fred Claus. Definitely Fred Claus, starring Vince Vaughn as Santa Claus's very cynical brother. So, point being, it's been done before. We've also seen movies where that subvert the character of Santa, and Santa's more edgy. I mentioned, the most popular example is Bad Santa, where Billy Bob Thornton is definitely not the friendly, family friendly, kid friendly Saint Nick that we all know and love. So it's been done before. So I went into this just kind of wanting to have a good time, just wanting this to be fun because, I've seen the trailers. It just looks like, and it pretty much looked like Die Hard meets Bad Santa. And that's exactly what it was. It didn't break any new ground, but it was a hell of a lot of fun. It was a good time. My eyes were glued to the screen in the theater, and there are times where I just had the biggest grin on my face. This Violent Night, Violent Night was a lot of fun, undeniably. Um, and that's I credit that to a few reasons. Firstly, yeah, David Harbour and John Leguizamo. both fantastic in their respective roles. I was think going in, I thought David Harbour was just gonna be like I thought he was gonna be like maybe I guess like a hitman Santa or like a mercenary Santa who just have like a mercenary or hitman who just so happens to be Santa Claus. Um, and I don't want to give anything away. I really don't want to spoil anything, but that's not really what it was. There's some of that, but that's not really what it was. For all intents and purposes, he is more or less Santa Claus who, like John McClane in Die Hard, happens to find himself in the wrong place at the wrong time. He's delivering presents to this one house that just so happens to be in the midst of a terrorist, or not, they're not really terrorists, of a criminal takeover led by John Leguizamo. So wrong place, wrong time. Like I said, just like Die Hard. And this movie knows it's similar to Die Hard. They reference it one time and they take story beats from it. And they do the same with a couple of other Christmas movies too. So it's self-aware of how derivative it is. It doesn't act like it's, treading new ground or doing anything original, and it knows it just wants to Violent Night delivers on exactly what you want. You go into a movie like Violent Night wanting to take a break from the feel good wholesome Christmas movies that they play on Hallmark, movies like It's a Wonderful Life, The Santa Claus, A Christmas Carol. You're going into this movie to basically see Santa be a badass and butcher people, and it delivers on that. So that's all I could say about it. Like I said, not perfect, not a masterpiece. It seemed like it wanted to do more with the lore of Santa Claus in this universe that it didn't do. We get like 10 seconds of backstory for Harbor's Santa Claus, and then nothing else about him is explained. Now I don't know if that was intentional, like that maybe they're setting up for a sequel and they'll like expand on his backstory. And I can definitely see this movie getting a sequel if it performs well at the box office, which I think so far it is shaping up to make its money back and kind of be a moderately successful hit at the box office. So far I haven't heard anything about it bombing. I think I think it did gross a good amount during its opening weekend, so I don't see it being a bomb, and I do think that there could be a sequel. It definitely leaves things open for a sequel for sure, not a doubt in my mind. And I want to see one because I want to know more about this Santa Claus, and I want to see more of David Harbour's Santa Claus kicking ass. I'll be honest. But all that being said, it was kind of a letdown that more wasn't explained about this take on Santa Claus, why he is the way he is, and more importantly, this intriguing backstory with him that they set up. So yeah, and maybe I guess like they didn't want to spend too much time on it, which is understandable because this is very much a Die Hard-esque situation where you pretty much just want to you want to see the action. So it might have been deliberate, and it didn't like bog down the movie significantly for me. It was just something with me, like personally, I could have used more backstory. Other than that, yeah, Violent Night was a pretty solid action movie. I give it an 8 out of 10. Very solid. So yeah, that's about it. That's all I've had to say about The Menu and Violent Night. Thanks for tuning in to this very special edition of Wade Watches, where I did a double feature, and technically counts because hey, John Leguizamo's in both. So thanks very much, and I'll see you next time.